Hi, kids. Welcome to Dixys Storytime World. Are you ready to listen to this awesome story called Red Riding Hood and the Sweet Little Wolf? Once upon a time, there was a big bad wolf who lived in the woods. Well, that's not quite true. Really, she was a sweet little wolf who loved all things pretty and pink, especially fairy tales. She lived with her mum and dad, who were very big and very bad. Mr. and Mrs. Wolf shook their heads. When will you ever learn to be a real wolf like us? It's time you went out to get the dinner. So sweet little wolf set out. She hid behind a tree. I must be clever and cunning, she whispered over and over again as she looked at her mother's list. Dinner: 1 onion, 2 large potatoes, 3 carrots, 1 sprig of rosemary, 1 little girl, tender and juicy. Just then, Red Riding Hood skipped by on her way to Grandma's house in the woods. Sweet little wolf couldn't believe her luck. She scampered slyly and followed her along the path. Red Riding Hood was reading a story out loud. Once upon a time, with a flick of a wand, a girl's rags turned into a beautiful gown fit for a ball. It was a fairy tale. Sweet little wolf pricked up her ears and listened. Outside Grandma's cottage, Red Riding Hood finished the story. And they lived happily ever after. Then she went inside. Sweet little wolf felt in her pocket for a handkerchief. Happy endings always made her cry. She pulled out her mother's list. Oh no, what had she been doing? She couldn't go home without dinner. There was only one thing to do. Grandma was out, so sweet little wolf crept into the cottage after Red Riding Hood. Grrr, grrr. She tried her hardest to pull a scary face. She pointed her sharp claws. She practiced her best growl in Grandma's bedroom window. Her family would be so proud. But then she spotted a lovely pink dressing gown, and the sweet little wolf couldn't resist trying them on. Suddenly, she heard Red Riding Hood in the next room. The girl was reading again. Once upon a time, a girl was rescued from a tower in the middle of a forest by a handsome prince. Sweet little wolf lay down in Grandma's soft, cozy bed. She would just listen to one more story. Then she would be a real wolf. Soon, Red Riding Hood heard a strange noise coming from Grandma's bedroom. Snuffle, grunt, snort, snuffle, grunt, snort. She was amazed. Grandma was supposed to be picking bluebells in the woods. Why was she snoring in bed? She looked closer. Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have, and what big teeth! Red Riding Hood pulled back the covers and screamed, Ah! It was the big bad wolf! Help! She shouted, Wolf! A woodcutter heard Red Riding Hood's cry and ran towards the cottage as fast as he could. But sweet little wolf didn't leap out of bed and chase Red Riding Hood. She hid under the covers and sobbed great big tears. I don't want to be a big bad wolf, she cried. I want to listen to fairy tales. Red Riding Hood felt sorry for sweet little wolf. She told the woodcutter that she was perfectly safe and wrote a letter in her very best handwriting. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Wolf, once upon a time there lived a little wolf that didn't want to eat girls. She loved all things pretty and pink and dreamed of being a good, kind wolf. So this story has a different ending, a happy ending. Best wishes, Red Riding Hood. Mr. and Mrs. Wolf were delighted to have their little wolf back home. They had been worried, particularly when they heard about the woodcutter. It doesn't matter that you aren't a big bad wolf. We love you just the way you are, said Mrs. Wolf, tucking her up in bed. Little Wolf fell fast asleep, dreaming of princesses and magical lands and lovely little girls. She was a wolf after all. The end. Thank you, kids, for listening. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on all these awesome stories. We're also available on the Kids YouTube app. Bye for now.